guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going right into it and we're using the RCMA foundation palette. We're mixing a couple of those darker shades to go ahead and contour, and we're going to be doing this along the temples, the jaw, and my cheekbones, as well as my nose, to give me my own attempt at a little bit of a nose contour a la Scott Barnes, as this makeup look is pretty much an adaptation of the look that he's known for. Now, I won't lie to you guys, this makeup look took forever to do, especially because it's not something that I know really well. So I took a little bit of a snack break in between and did a little bit of a dance break too. Here I'm just applying the highlight, and this was a mix of some of like the 3 lightest shades within the palette, because I was really trying to go for that signature highlighted look. And during this part of my makeup application, I was still trying to be very mindful of where I was placing my highlight. I did kind of make it a moot point, but we'll talk about that later when it gets over to the foundation. So here I'm just applying some contour to the lines above my lip on my nose. And I didn't really like the way that nose contour came out, but oh well, we covered it up later. I also made sure to contour around my lips, and mostly for the top and the bottom right in the center, since I really like it to look really volumized, essentially kind of like a Brad Stall situation. I forgot that I had some lip balm on, so I just kind of quickly got that sucker off of there. But just taking my time and making sure to really line those lips really well. Now I'm just making sure to contour underneath my cheekbones, and I'm going quite low with it because that's specifically the technique that Scott calls for. And he says that if you bring it down lower, it brings out the full definition of your actual bone structure. And I gotta say, kind of came out looking pretty lit. I'm not gonna lie, looked pretty dope. I'm just taking my time now blending out that contour. I might have over blended it quite a bit, honestly, especially considering how light I went with it, but it's all good. And I'm just alternating between blending out my contour and patting on my foundation shades, which is again just another mixture of several different colors that I had in the RCMA foundation. I really made sure to take my time to work in as thin layers as possible and try to really work in the foundation shade into my face, but not completely overpower the contour. Here's where I really think I could have gone much deeper with the contour that I had, and honestly not had gone over it quite as much as I did. I did probably go over those areas with a little bit too much product for my own personal preference, because I did end up having to deepen that later with some powder. I'm using this more fluffy style brush because Scott typically uses a stippling brush, which I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I haven't owned one since the early days of beauty YouTube, probably a la 2010, 2011. So I had to improvise. And I like the way that it looked. My skin looked really good. I'm making sure to just spot conceal with a more peachy toned color added into my foundation mix to go over any of my areas of hyperpigmentation that I have on my face, any little spots, any little areas of coverage where I just needed a little extra. Here I'm taking my Anastasia lip kit, and I'm using a couple of the shades there to make a cream blush. I just love the way that a cream blush looks, and he uses it, and I just thought it was lovely. And this powder is new to me. This is actually the Maybelline Fit Me Powder Compact in 110, and I'm using that as my under eye shade just to really keep the brightening effect that I had underneath the eyes. And I'm keeping it really close to the nose to really emphasize the contour that I have going on there and help with the illusion that we were trying to create. I also made sure to take that same powder and set certain parts of my face, especially around the center, so like my T-zone, around the nose, around my mouth, around my chin, just because I want to keep it locked in. I really was loving the way that my skin was looking at this time. Like I said, I just would have loved to have tweaked those things, but you know, you live and you learn. That's what I've got to say. Now I'm just using some of the same colors from within my Anastasia lip kit, and I'm using that to make a sort of a base brown for the rest of my shades to go on. Next, I'm going to be taking this brown eyeshadow from my Master by Mario ABH kit. I think that's what it's called. I just call it Mario eyeshadow palette, and I just made sure to set that right over where we had put down that brown cream color. And I think this is a really good tip for anybody who is looking to do something pretty quick. You honestly could, you know, not take it too much further from where I have it here. Kind of fluff it around the crease, bring it into the eye, put on a little bit mascara, and you could even call it a day there, but of course that's not my jam. So we're gonna just make sure to deepen that outer V of both of my eyes. Once I finish laying down that first brown shadow, I'm gonna go back into the Mario palette, and I'm gonna use these two shades and put them on the inner third of both of my eyes. I think that most people would be able to stop here. I just have a glitter addiction, so we're not. At this point, I did go in again with two other shimmers because I wasn't too happy with the tone of the shimmers that I had laid down, and this is, of course, was all before I decided I was ultimately, surprise surprise, going to go in with some glitter. So I decided to take my NYX glitter glue primer and dip my brush into the glitter, not dipping it in the primer because I already just put it on my lids and I wanted a more scattered effect. And I'm just laying on a hard candy that it comes in a 2-pack called City Glitter, and it's really pretty bronzy gold with some silver flakes, and it's just so right. Ooh, I just love watching it. It's so satisfying. I was so blinky IRL, let me tell you. Next, I'm taking my ABH Prism palette, and I'm using the brown and the black there because I wasn't happy with how light it was in the outer corners. So I did go ahead and deepen that up. I did one eye off screen just so that I would kind of have an idea of where I wanted to take the look. And so I'm just making sure to further deepen that very outer corner of the eye. And I'm just going back into some more of that fudge color because I thought that the pigment that I had taken up between the brown and the black was a little bit too dark, and I wasn't trying to go for a super black look. I wanted this to be something a little bit more approachable, so you could feel comfortable wearing it in a multitude of settings, plus or minus the glitter. I took those same two colors and just made sure that my lower lash line and my upper lash line were connected on either side, as well as running it lightly on the one eye that wasn't done underneath my eye and making sure to buff that out. I'm also just taking some of my darker Maybelline Fit Me powder that came in a compact. It was the 220. And I'm just making sure to set more of the bottom half of my face, the area that especially the areas where I want to bring back a little bit more life. I'm taking some more of that first brown shade that we have from the Mario palette and making sure to further define my eyes, as well as taking a little bit extra glitter because I obviously have a problem. After that, I'm going to be dipping into my NYX 3 Steps to Sculpt, and I'm going to run my brush along all 3 shades, tap off the excess on the back of my hand, and go and further define the areas that we applied our cream contour to. As I'm doing this, I'm going to be going back and forth between my bronzer brush as well as my foundation brush, just to make sure that the edges of that bronzer application are as seamless as possible. Now, I did also take a much smaller brush using the 2 matte shades of the bronzer that I had and going around and really smoothing and kind of diffusing the edges of my eye and going over the nose contour. After this, I noticed that I was getting a little bit shiny, so I ran a little bit of the Maybelline powder along the edges of the eye and underneath my eyes as well. I do wish I would have taken it onto that right eye. I don't know why I didn't. I thought I did, but I was here for a long time, so I'm not that surprised something slipped by me. Also, in person, it looked different and looked a lot more diffused than it does on camera. And I'm also making sure to just further define that bronzer and that contour that we have set on the face. And then taking some of that bronzer and making sure to finish bronzing along the forehead, as well as underneath my chin, or should I say on my double chin. I noticed that my mouth area was looking a little gray, so my trick is always to run over whatever is absolutely left over from the bronzer and put it around that space. Now I'm just taking my L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara and applying it because we're gonna go in with liner and lashes, but I did go ahead and do all of that off camera because I wasn't trying to sit here for another hour. I've already did this for long enough. I'm just reapplying some more of that cream blush onto my face using the exact same brush, no additional products, and then using the foundation brush to blend in any little areas that I feel like aren't super seamless. Now I'm taking a NYX Lip Lingerie, I can't remember the exact color, but I'm overlining the bejesus out of my lips. When it comes to lining your lips, it's totally your personal preference, but I felt like because this was such a big mood type of makeup, I really just wanted to go super all out. Also, my boyfriend is super sweet and he made me a shake and it was just like super great. That boy is awesome. And I'm just taking a mix of some of the colors from the lip palette and applying that on my lips just to kind of give me a super full pouty effect. I could not tell you for the life of me which colors I chose. I just know it's probably number 1, number 4, number 8, and probably number 11 because those are some of my favorite shades. Now I'm taking these two highlighter colors from the Norvina palette and I'm moving my head around to see where the light hits it and then placing that highlight right there just so that whenever I move my head it doesn't look just like one stripe, but it looks like something a little bit more organic. And because we use the cream blush, it's gonna look super natural and like skin. And I'm just applying some more of that highlighter to the other high points of the face that I want to really stand out. My main recommendation when it comes to any of your makeup looks is to definitely stand back and look and really assess and make sure that what you're doing on one eye, you're doing on the other, and on the face, and vice versa. Here I'm just applying some more of the Maybelline powder because that cream and that oil was coming through, honey, and I was trying to look like a subtle glowy goddess. Here I'm applying some more highlight right to the center of the face and just kind of lightly blending that out. I wasn't super happy with the lips because I felt like I had lost the definition that I did with the lining. So I went back in, made sure to add that little line in the center of the lips to make it look extra full and pouty, and then re-emphasize the lightness on either side of it. And again, just taking some more of my Maybelline Fit Me powder and going around the parts of my face that were shining more than I wanted them to. And we're almost at the end of this, you guys. This is pretty much it for the makeup. This was what I had wanted. I wanted to look full coverage. I wanted to look glam. I wanted to look like I was face-tuned, pretty much. And it's not a really difficult thing to do. It's just more of taking your time and really looking at yourself and making sure that you're getting the effect that you want. And other than that, you guys, I'm really so glad that you guys stuck along with me while I was doing my makeup, and I really hope to see you guys in the next time. Hopefully you guys loved this. If you did, please make sure to give me a like, a thumbs up, I should say, as well as to subscribe. Other than that, peace.